Well, this is a very interesting question because it has started way before cybersecurity as we know it. In the past, before the year 2000, and even in 2000, we used to study security from a Microsoft standpoint, from a Cisco standpoint, and so on and so forth. And I was able to earn Microsoft and Cisco certifications. However, um, I thought that this is really not adequate for cybersecurity professionals because they see a hybrid environment in their workplace. And so teaching them from a vendor standpoint does not prepare them for a job. And then in 2002, I was watching Beverly Hills Cop movie, and I was intrigued by the scene in which Eddie Murphy was deactivating a gun club using gum wrap. And the two cops from California asked him, "Have you always been a cop?" Of course, he gave them the Eddie Murphy smile, and of course, it's obvious for the viewer that the answer is no. Then that idea clicked with me. It is best to teach students and professionals cybersecurity from a hacking standpoint in a hybrid environment so that they are ready for the job. And starting 2002, I started going to conferences and talking to professionals, cybersecurity professionals and IT professionals about the importance of teaching students hacking. My journey continued to creating curricula for students to teach them penetration testing and hacking in cybersecurity. And I've written 13 books in cybersecurity and IT. My books were translated to multiple languages, including Portuguese, Korean, and many others. You can see them on Amazon. The point is, cybersecurity has always been a big part of my interest, and that's why I continue to study it. It's pretty much endless. I've been teaching cybersecurity at a higher education institution for about 28 years. So it is very important to be embedded in cybersecurity at the professional level, as well as learning what's coming, what's new out there. That is a wonderful question. Well, before CPENT, I earned a CompTIA Pentest Plus. I earned the OSCP, and they're great, amazing certifications. I really encourage everybody to take them. However, CPENT was different because in CPENT, I saw how CPENT prepares an individual, a professional, to be a perfect penetration tester for an organization and not just capture the flag solver. It is a tough exam, but CPENT in particular includes topics that are not available in any other exam, like penetration testing, scoping, and engagement, like open source intelligent OSINT, like mobile device penetration testing methodology. IoT is another component in CPENT that I have not seen in any other certification. So CPENT carries more weight because of what it includes. It pretty much mimics a real-world penetration testing environment. Well, I have done my share. I put time in there, but of course that's depending on the individual. I have been doing penetration testing for a very long time. I actually wrote about it in my computer security and penetration testing book, which has 2 editions so far. I'm working on a 3rd one right now. So the amount of time it took me to prepare is kind of different from one person to the other, and I don't want to quote it here so that I can discourage people from taking the CPENT exam. But the exam is not easy. The exam is tough. However, it is very entertaining. It is amazing. I really enjoyed every minute of that exam because it's real world. You're actually getting to do something that you see in a penetration testing contract. I would encourage all candidates to focus on pivoting, focus on double pivoting, actually really put a lot of time and effort into it. Focus on weaponization. Binary exploitation is very important also. Be intimate with PowerShell. Be encouraged to use the man command in Kali Linux to be able to get specifics about a certain command when it comes to the different options you have. Don't be afraid. Deal with it and treat it as a real life penetration testing contract. Do not be afraid. there are many ways you can do the same thing. You can accomplish the same task in CPENT, and that's the beauty of CPENT. It's not only one way that will grant you a correct answer. So in regards to the time, everyone's time is going to be different in preparation, but do not take it so lenient. Study and study hard for it. Practice, practice, practice. That is the best advice I can give you. Well, CPENT was not difficult at all, because, like I told you, I have done multiple CPENT contracts for real companies, large corporations. So it wasn't um, that different than any other contract I've done. As I said earlier, it's real-world environment, and what differentiates CPENT from other organizations offering certifications is that in the real world you have to deal with firewalls, DMZs, web application firewalls, and other defense mechanisms that I have not seen in other certifications. So, like I said, the time is different. Labs are extremely important. I cannot tell you how important it is to take the labs. I also encourage candidates to try with the PENT Test Plus from CompTIA and OSCP. They will gauge, you will find out where you stand before you take the CPENT. So it's not really discouraging. Now, I made a mistake in taking the CPENT exam. I took the two 12-hour sessions. I was able to finish the exam in 9 hours, but of course I have to go to the second 12-hour session because that's how it works. And when I logged in the second time to the exam, I found that I did not save two questions in the exam, number 3 and number 5. And I am guessing that because I had to rush through them since I knew they were saved, and of course that was incorrect from me, I did not save them. I had to rush through them, and I think that the only mistake I made in the exam was either number 3 and number 5 questions. If you have experience in penetration testing, I strongly encourage you to do it in one sitting of 24 hours. You're probably going to finish it way before the 24 hours. That is a wonderful question. Well, like I said, it's real life. This is not a joke. This is not a capture the flag solver. This is a real world environment that you're doing. You have to know Cali really well. So I like that it's real world. I like that it includes new topics that are not included in any other exam, like especially the IoT penetration testing and the mobile device penetration testing methodology. I also find the penetration testing scoping and engagement part of the exam, of the study, was very enlightening to me because it's something I have done, but I did not do it in a structure format the way CPENT explains it. So that's what I like about it. Also, another thing is I like how you're actually working on real Kali Linux machine, and you're executing the commands, and there are multiple ways of doing the same thing, and CPENT encourages that. So I know I listed more than 3, but I can probably spend the rest of the call or the rest of the recording talking about the amazing features of CPENT. PowerShell is phenomenal in there. The emphasis on PowerShell and the ability of the candidates to use PowerShell is just amazing. It is so hybrid and meshed environment in a way that that's exactly what you will see when you're doing penetration testing for the organization. So I can't say enough good things about CPENT. I have 45 certifications in cybersecurity. I would say that CPENT was the most entertaining and the toughest exam, the most exam I really enjoyed out of all the 45 exams I took in cybersecurity. Oh, it's nothing but phenomenal. Yes, I do have a lot of experience. Yes, I have written so many books. Yes, I have done so many penetration testing. However, the labs are absolutely phenomenal because it is comprehensive. In many companies, you will see maybe 70 to 80%, and I'm being accurate, I'm a mathematician, 70 to 80% of the components that you're actually dealing with. Now, CPENT prepares you for all different scenarios that you will see in a real life situation. So, as I said earlier, practice, 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 which means do the lab. Uh, I don't feel so excited about an exam that you can take by studying from a book. You know, you study the book, you take the exam. If you know the content, you can take the exam, you can earn the certification. But do you actually learned something? And the learning part is what makes it very interesting. So I remember back in like late 90s, beginning of 2000s, we used to have a terminology called paper certified. And paper certified meant people who studied a certain book, or even at that time cheated by looking at brain dumps, which is extremely discouraged by any certification organization, and learned from them to be able to answer correct answers in the exam. That is not the case at all. That does not prepare you to have a good job and maintain the good job. And this is an advice for all professionals who are seeking cybersecurity certifications. A certification only can get you a job. You can do very well in the interview based on the conceptual information that you're saying in the interview. But the guarantee that this job will last you behind the 3 months probation period is the knowledge you gain. So if you're looking at a certification just as a paper degree to get a job, you're actually cheating yourself, because there's a lot more value to certification than just getting a job. It is maintaining that job. It is putting you on the right path to be able to do the tasks at work that you're supposed to do. And also it opens your eyes for new technologies that will come out because you have a solid foundation on the existing technology. Wireshark and Hydra are my two best friends. Of course, can't talk enough about shell and scripting. That's very important. And I would not call this a tool, because that becomes like eating and drinking in a daily basis for any human. So your shell is your best friend. But specifically for the CPENT exam, I would say that Hydra and Wireshark were my lifesavers. I also wrote some commands. It's an open book exam, so I wrote some commands on a small piece of paper so I can remind myself of the different options I have in the exam, and that really helped me a lot. Especially with command lines that I don't use frequently, that really helps. But on a daily basis, it is your PowerShell or your shell scripting. Hydra and Wireshark are your best friends there. Well, yeah, my answer would be different than a typical answer. It has benefited my career because I got the idea to write a book about penetration testing. The proposed name for the book is Penetration Testing from Contract to Report, because of all the journey that a professional penetration testing will take. So I think my answer to that question will be skewed based on the fact that I'm an academician, I'm an educator, I'm a professor. So it has benefited my career in writing more books and teaching better curriculum for students and making sure that the students are prepared to have a good and prepared to have and maintain a good job in cybersecurity. I think my answer here would be different than a practitioner or a professional who's working directly in the field. Well, I would regard CPENT as the highest certification if you are looking for hands-on experience in cybersecurity and penetration testing. The difference, I can list the top 5 modules that come right to my head because I was really amazed by them. It's like a wow moment. Wow, you guys cover IoT penetration testing. You guys cover mobile device penetration testing methodology. Oh, you guys cover open source intelligence. So those are the wow things. But CPENT in particular deals with such topics, and to my experience, not all the vendors have tackled such topics in the same depth as CPENT. So CPENT is different. CPENT is real world. CPENT includes firewalls, DMZs, WEFs, and other defense measures. Uh, it is very hard to compare CPENT to any other certification. This is the certification that you will see as a whole or part in your job, meaning your job will be a subset of what you learn in CPENT versus other certifications. The curriculum in the certifications are going to be a subset of what you are able to see in your profession. So if you want to learn the whole thing, CPENT is the way to go. I think I kind of pointed out the answer to that questions before. However, I want to make it more organized. I'm going to kind of list my my advice here. First, I want to say that I am honored to be one of 96 candidates who earned CPENT. I don't even know how many earned LPT with CPENT, but that's definitely an honor and something I'm really proud of. When you're studying, approach all content as if it's new. Do not take any content for granted. Do not look at a chapter name or a module name or a lab name and think, oh yeah, I know this. I don't need to do this. I'm just going to focus on the more difficult things or more foreign things. Do not do this at all. Go in the same sequence as EC Council has advised. Do all the labs and do them in the same steps. Do every single lab. Do not skip a step. As I said, focus on pivoting, and even double focus on double pivoting. That's a tough topic, and it's covered in the exam. Of course, binary exploitation is another important topic. Be familiar, be friends with the shells, be friends with the Linux commands. Don't be afraid to use the man command to find out more about specifics in there. There's no one way to do something. So if you hit a brick wall when you're answering one of the questions, don't be afraid to try a different thing. And you will only get this through the labs. Because the labs will train you to think outside of the box. I don't want you to be thinking it's from point A to point B, this is how you answer the question. Unfortunately, most certifications train us to think like this. You know, if you want to configure a user in an Active Directory environment, here are the steps 1, 2, 3, 4 that you need to do to be able to accomplish this task. Actually, with CPENT, that is the worst approach you can take. So do not skip any topic. Go through every topic and make sure that you cover every single labs. I would say that the labs are the most important component in preparing for the CPENT exam. Also, don't be afraid to have like virtual machines or multiple computers if you have and try with them. Try to do the commands with them. The labs are a great and safe environment to use, but I've always had the setup. Since when I write my books, I write my own labs, so I have the setup to try and see what the lab's telling me and how it's going to happen in different Linux flavors and different environments and so on and so forth. So yes, it is a tough exam. It is not a difficult exam. There is a huge distinction between the two. First, it's not impossible. Second is, tough is what you want to prepare you for a job. Tough is entertaining. You will feel accomplished when you take the CPENT exam.